Hey there, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Hey, let's do a quick update on this thing. I'm going to make some major changes on this year. First off, a quick review. This is a 6000 EX in EG4 all-in-one inverter. It's a low frequency inverter, so it's a real heavy duty unit. And I'm pleased to have it as opposed to the new ones. Would I rather have the XP? I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. This thing has done well for what I'm doing. But anyway, neither here nor there. That's what I got. That's what I'm going to work with. But I think I can make this thing better. I put it on this card here, and it fits on there. It carries the weight. I can maneuver it, but it's really hard to drive with this type of steering mechanism. So I think maybe I'm going to change that out if I keep it on the cart. I have two choices. I can either build a separate cart and just build it like 2x2 platform and mount everything on there and build up so that it would be a cabinet that would be 3.5 feet tall and a 2x2 square type of thing with 4 casters on the bottom. Is that what I want to do? I don't know. I like this thing. And one of my thoughts is to make this better is to take everything off. I would have to reposition everything on there, but I would take this front axle off completely and put one of those electric dollies for the moving bolts around and that sort of thing. Those things are run on electric, 12 volts, so I can easily put that on here. And the rating on those things is more than enough to be able to run this thing, even with 4 batteries, which is what I'm going to probably end up going to, is 4 batteries. So, I don't know whether to do that or go with a single platform. I really like the idea of having a little cart that's electric. That would be kind of unique. So I think that's what I'll probably end up doing. But that means I'm going to spend a couple $100 for that dolly. So we'll see. If you want to give your opinion about whether to do this or build the other type of cabinet, let me know. I'd love to hear your input so I can, before I make a final decision, I probably will listen to ideas and thoughts about it. So anyway, I do have a 4th battery. So I am going to, when I revamp this, I'm adding a 4th battery. So instead of 15 kilowatt hours of battery, I'll have 20 kilowatts. I'll still use the same inverter, the 6000, but it'll give me a little better, a little more lasting power, basically. Also, I'm going to put them on bus bars. So, and then when I do that, I'm going to put battery monitors on each of the 4 batteries so that I'll be able to look at each battery and see the state of charge on each one. And I'll be able to see how much power is coming out of each one to make sure I'm getting a pretty good balance when I'm using it. My biggest problem is I haven't used it hardly any. Like I said, 5 or 6 times since I built this a year and a half ago. Or whenever it was. Probably about a year and a half. I don't really use it enough, so I need to put this on some kind of maintenance program to charge the batteries up, drain them down now and then, because they say that they'll last longer if you do that. So I'm probably going to have to take and routinely plug this into my shop, into the garage, disconnect the garage from the power grid off of in the house, and just run this strictly off the garage for a day or 2 at a time off of my battery system, so I can kind of get a feel for what it gets, what it can do and can't do, and those types of things. I think it'll be an interesting way of using it, and by using it over and over, I'll be able to get a better idea of how to deal with it if I end up having to go using it for weeks or days or weeks at a time. I'll be able to know what to expect from this thing overall. So I might even set it up and run the generator every day for a couple hours to recharge it, just to see how that whole system holds up together and see if I can do this, so that if I ever have an outage that it goes across multiple days or weeks, I'll already have test on it. So I'm hoping to be able to do that this fall, or by the end of fall, to have that all done. So we'll see. This year is already half over, or a little more. But anyway, I think that'll make a much better setup when I get done. And I'm also going to clean up the way everything is wired up and make it look a little bit better than it is. So, but that's it. I did buy 2 more eco-worthy batteries. When they first came on the market in January this year, I watched the reviews, I watched the teardowns, and I decided I was able to buy them for like $840 a piece. For a 5,000 watt battery, whew, that's a darn good price. So I bought 2 more server rack batteries from EcoWorthy, and I did buy the 3,000 watt inverter, the EG4 model, the yellow one, and I was going to use that 4th battery and make a smaller unit, 120 volt unit that I could roll around on a dolly and that type of thing. But I think what I do is now I'm going to put that 4th battery here, and since I have those 2, the 3,000 watt inverter I'm going to hook to both of those batteries. So I'll have a secondary power bank that will be a 3,000 watt inverter with 10 kilowatt hours of battery. So I'm really looking forward to getting that one built. Also, if I put them both on bus bars in their own self, I can actually make a connector to go between both of them, and then when I hook that up, then it all becomes one bank unit. So therefore I would have a 6,000 watt inverter output with 30 kilowatt hours of battery, and most of the time they'll just kind of sit there and it'll give me that full amount. So if the power goes out, I can turn it on. I might be able to go 2 days. So that's the theory, is I can split it up into 2 different power units if I need to. Let's say run 1 out here, run 1 in the house, I don't know, or maybe help a neighbor out. I can take the small one and give it to the neighbor, and I can run this without any problem. But I do want to also try to get a multi-day use practice run using my generator to charge the thing back up. So stay tuned. That's going to be mostly what I do this year. I know that all my woodworking people have loved it and the ideas, but my ideas kind of now go toward what I need to get done and what I want to do. And having a good backup system for your house is not a bad idea, especially when you're retired like I am. If something bad happens, I'm betting on being able to stay home, but without all the utilities that I now have the convenience of. And if that happens, I want to be able to survive by staying in the house. So that's why the backup system, I did it to begin with. We get enough power out, nuisance level power outages, that this thing works perfect for those things. I can switch over to it in 5 minutes and run the whole house on this thing without any problem. So it has done wonderful. We're going to make it a little bit better this year, so you get to go along. If you have any ideas as we talk about and start doing this stuff, if you have any suggestions or ideas, I would love to hear them, because this is definitely a working project. So yes, we're going to make this even better. Like everything, it's never really done. So if you have any questions about this whole idea about having the whole battery, but now that I have 6 batteries and 2 inverters, all-in-one inverters, why not? And that way I can make use of all of it as one unit. I can also use the secondary one as an emergency backup unit for mine if something happens to this one, until I can replace it or whatever. So I'm having that flexibility, and I can run it off that generator straight up the house if I have to. So my options have gone up. I hope to make them go up a little bit more and have the whole thing working together. And we'll talk about all of that as we go along, and all the little traps that you have to think about when you go through all this stuff. Like, I have not really talked much about when the power goes out and I switch everything over. One of the first things you do is you disconnect the main power supply so that you don't backfeed into the grid. But how do you know when the power comes back on? I do get a notice from the power company through my phone and the way I have it set up, but that usually doesn't come through for at least an hour after it's come on. So they're a little slow at telling us when it comes back on. They're a little slow telling you how long before it will come back on. Although most of the time they do get it right when they finally give you a time period. Usually they're within that window when they get it up, but not always. So you just never know. So I think there is a way. I did buy one of those power alarms, and I'm going to put it on the power box in the main house, so that when I turn off the power, when it comes back on, I'll know immediately that I can hook up to it and turn this thing off. So anyway, that's where we're at. Stay tuned. You can see how well it works when I get it done. Also, how we're going to end up rebuilding this thing when we're done. And quite frankly, figure out where the hell I'm going to find for a home for that thing here in the shop. I am a little crowded, as you can tell, in here. And I really would like to find a better spot than right here for this thing. That's going to be a major operation, too, between you and me. But we'll get there. And once I figure it all out, you kind of go along with me. And if you have any suggestions of how to do this or that, let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned, because I got a lot of things I want to do. I don't know how much of them I'll get done. But we're not going to give up. And I do want to thank you for coming by. Please come back again. But most importantly, please come back again. Did I mess that up? I guess I'm out of practice. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you, and I hope again that we'll see you again. Bye.